Welcome back, everyone. We're live with Michael Toma today, which is going to teach you a lot of things about how to get funded. Looking forward to this training quite a bit. And we'll go through a lot of things today. You might want to take notes, might want to have a paper next to you. And Michael will share with you some things that he's done in the past, and he's seen people work well with in terms of scaling up the trading and getting much better. So without further ado, I'll let Michael share his slides, and we can go right away with the training. If you have any questions, you can always comment below in the chat. Ask your questions there, and we'll make sure that we cover your questions and that you are getting value from this webinar and this training today. So without further ado, Michael can start and share his slides.
Great. Thank you, Etienne, for that great introduction. I do want to just recognize, is it Richard from New Jersey? Is it right? Fantastic. Welcome. I'm live from New Jersey, so welcome aboard. Send me a shout out. So welcome, Rich. So could everyone see my screen? Is everyone good? You want to give a quick yes in the chat box? Yeah. Excellent. Okay. So I'm really excited that I was invited here tonight by Etienne, Alex, and the Desire to Trade group. I've been working with this group for a few years now, and we really got something very special for you tonight. And I know you'll walk away with some really cool content and really good takeaways. That one of my goals is to have takeaways where you can walk away and apply them either in your trading or your business, or in this case, how we can get some capital to trade, for our own success and benefit. So let's get right to it. And great. So we're going to scale up your trading beyond your own capital. Again, we appreciate your time. We know your time is precious. For those in the US and in the Western Hemisphere, we know it's a late night. And for you on the other side of the globe, it's early morning. So we appreciate your time. We know you have a lot of choices, and your time is precious, especially if you're trading. It's been a long day. The markets have been absolutely crazy this week. But I'm super excited to be part of this. So let's get to it. Okay. So for me personally, I always like to have an ambitious goal for my presenters, whether it's online, in Trader Expos, things like that. I like to think big. Okay. And I hope you do too. My goal is to teach you to set a vision for you. Okay. And, a lot of us, we trade our own accounts. Right. And it does have its good benefits and somewhat limitations. But what we're going to do is to show you how you can trade other people's or, prop or other type of managed accounts. Okay. And again, like Etienne said earlier in the preview, I'm going to make it simple. So where it could get a little crazy with, a lot of hedge fund types analytics, I'm going to keep it down to earth so we could all understand and really enjoy and get a lot of content out of this. Okay. So quick disclaimer, you can read that. I'll put it up for a few seconds. Again, I've been doing this. I've been managing accounts and trading from my own accounts for a while. But, these goals don't happen instantly. They take time, effort, and, obviously good coaching. So just, again, trade at your own risk and understand that there's a lot to this very prudent and successful venture. But I want to make sure you understand that. Okay. So during this training, we're going to learn several things. How to manage outside capital. That's why we're there. Here, the 3 keys to go beyond your own trading capital. Okay. How to scale up your trading. So once you get into that groove, how do we continue to do the same thing that we're doing and make more money because of it? And number 4, the key skills needed for success. Okay. Just a reminder, if you have any questions during the presentation, just put them in the chat in the Q&A, and we'll make sure we address them at the end of the presentation. Okay. Great. So for those who don't know me, who am I? All right. Who am I teaching this? Well, I've been a professional trader for 20 years. I coach traders and trading firms as a consultant. I'm a speaker on the Traders Expo circuit and money show in the United States and in Canada, certified in risk management since 2007. And I oversee managed accounts, both domestic and international. I really enjoy it, and I'm involved in the markets every day. So, and again, like I said, the past few days have been absolutely crazy. And lastly, I am a traveling trader, just like you see a lot at Desire to Trade. But I hope to be traveling and trading once again very soon. It's been a rough life for the traveling traders the past year, but things are looking good, and I already got my agenda going. I'm super excited to get on my first plane trip in a while. Enough about me. So first thing we want you to type into the chat. Open-ended question, no wrong answer. What is your motivation to trade and manage capital? Okay. Why are you here? I want to hear some of your thoughts. Love it. Freedom, family, make good money, passion in trading. Thank you, Eric. That word passion will come up several times in my presentation. Excellent. Great. Yeah. And again, love the responses, responsibility, love the game. Yeah, it is a game. And I love the game too. Sometimes we treat it like a business, but there's a lot of fun in this too. I mean, I wake up on Monday mornings where a lot of people dread waking up, and I can't wait to get to work. I mean, the first thing I do is roll out of bed and I check those, the S&P futures to see how they did overnight. So good. Every day, same routine. Love that routine. Excellent. Great. And of course, obviously, we're here to, hopefully make a nice living and have security for us and our family too. Great. Excellent. Good answers. Good. I got a good group here. Okay. So again, a lot of times when I get proposed questions, whether it's at the speakers conference or online, I get lots of questions about managing capital, like trading outside capital. Where do I start? How do I get there? What about the barriers? Can I do this? What the blank do I do when I get there? A lot of times we talk to traders, or I coach traders who finally get that capital, and then they say, well, now what do I do? It's like, you think like the easy part's over. It's not. The fun just begins. Okay. And which type of options is the easiest to get started as far as what type of capital, or who do I get this capital from? And we're going to, we'll talk about that, in a second. Okay. Now, you'll notice I'll have some slides where I have this little key takeaway thing on the corner. That's a little bit of an alert to say, let's get your phones out. Let's get your screen share going. And, we want to make sure you take a nice snapshot of this and take good notes, or even write down these key takeaways. Okay. First one, managing capital is a business. It's a business independent of trading and requires business skills beyond your ability to trade. So what is my point here in this key takeaway? It's important to have the trading skills, but managing capital is just like another business. Okay, we have customers, we have to do reporting, we have to provide a good service, and it's not just about results. And we'll talk about those skill sets needed to do that. Okay. So again, I hope we'll give you a second to write that down or take a nice little snapshot of that. And again, this is being recorded, so we'll give you all a copy of the link to the recording so you can watch it again if you want to go through it. Thank you, Renee. Appreciate it. Okay, one more type in the chat. Okay, how much capital are you looking to trade? Okay, could be your own capital, could be managed capital. Think big too. Let's have fun tonight. Okay, I don't want to see any, $2,000 answers. There you go. Good. Nice. Beautiful. 100,000, 250,000, 5 to 10 million, futures, 2 million. Great. I love to see this. All right. Think big, because when I first started managing capital, I thought like $25,000 was like the greatest thing. And now I won't even have a conversation with less than like 250,000, 500,000. So I love it. I love to see the word millions in there too. Excellent. Great. I see you guys thinking big. I love it. I'm so excited now. Okay. So getting started. What are the 3 basic core foundations in which we can manage capital. Okay, well, first is friends and family. And a lot of us who kind of trade and manage other people's money starts there with their friends and family. Maybe it's just a family member asking that they're excited about what you do. Say, hey, would you mind trading my like $5,000 account? But one of the things I want to be sure we take away from this session is don't minimize friends and family like it's just like little side money. Friends and family accounts can be in the millions. Okay, it doesn't mean your family may have millions. It means once you get going and the word gets out, the other capital may follow, and all of a sudden your friends and family operation is in the millions. Okay. Next is first or third party funds. Okay. This is another popular one. It's, again, you'll hear about hedge funds and things like that, but I call it stranger capital. In other words, money that's come in that you really don't know who the investors are. Okay. It could be a hedge fund or things like that. And now there's platforms online such as DarwinX, Collective 2, where you're just trading a platform and others are subscribing to you and sort of linking, copying your performance. Okay. It's sort of auto traded. Becoming very popular. It is a form of money management. So I thought it was pretty interesting to put it in there. And lastly is managing prop firm capital. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about proprietary firms and how we can have the opportunity to manage, prop firm capital. They're very eager to find traders to help them because they have investors who want a return and they need traders who are going to be able to trade for them. It's very popular, getting more popular now. And the key is a very low barrier to entry. So while the first and third party funds may be a little legwork and we may have to do a lot of counseling and a lot of regulatory stuff, the prop firm capital avenue is one we need to consider. And we'll certainly talk about it more in this presentation. I have found in my trading career in money and managing money, ventures that I have found two different types of investors. Okay. One are the hands-on. The other is the hands-off. Let me give you a quick story about a hands-on. One of the first ventures I went into managing capital, and it was a total disaster, right? There's a gentleman really wanted me to trade his money. He gave me a seed capital. I think it was like 100,000 something, with that kicker that there was like 1.5 million, that was going to be added if everything worked out well. And, that was it still was a lot of money, but that was really a lot at the time. And I was kind of new. I was a good trader, but I just never managed capital. Well, as it turned out, there was a lot of legal stuff I had to sign, and I went with it, and that's fine too. I'm all for disclosure. But then after we got started, he would question every trade. Why'd you take this? Why'd you take that? And we had a trading plan. There wasn't like a discretionary thing. It was very systematic. Then he wanted daily meetings after the close of the markets to go over the ones and which ones we missed, which ones I didn't. And I was like, this is not working. I mean, you invested in me. You hired me to trade an account, not to go through all this like hand holding. Now, some of you may like that. You like that like constant communication, working like in a chat room type thing. For me, I love the hands off. Let me do my job. Okay, that's what I do. Let me do it. The question I want you to ask and think about is which one is most suitable for you. Okay. Think about that. That's something to think about tonight. Okay. About the compensation. A lot of people ask me, how do you get paid? What are the different ways? Thanks, Bill. Nice. Yeah, me too. I like hands off. Leave me alone. So how do we get paid? A lot of people ask me that, and there's so many different ways. Okay. One, you may have heard this term high water mark. And basically what it is you are paid for your trading performance. Okay. And just like the water in a pool, when that water level drops, you have to go back. That water level has to go back to the highest mark for you to get paid again. All right. So if you did really well in the first 6 months of a year, and then you had a little poor drawdown and never got back to that high, you really weren't paid for the rest of the year. So it has its benefits. But it also has its drawbacks. Next, a percentage management fee. Here, the objective of the trader or the trading firm is to attract as much capital as possible because they're being paid on the amount of assets that they trade. Okay. So it's not necessarily performance-based. It's just based on how much assets there are. And the third one is, and this is something that is somewhat new that I'm going to introduce, that I think a lot of traders don't think about when they're setting up, arrangements to trade other people's capital, is the consultant rule. Okay, there's a fixed dollar amount per month, and there's certain services that you provide. One, you'll probably be trading the account, but there's a lot more that goes into it. A lot of times investors are busy doing other things. They're busy running their businesses, and they don't have time to do all the back office things, compliance, regulatory, taxes, setting up the infrastructure, setting up the team, monthly communications. Okay. So you can play a role in that too. And this may be new for a lot of people, but start to think about this. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of money that you can make doing those types of services. Okay. And what is very common is have a hybrid of all three. Okay. I love the consulting role. In fact, one of my goals when I trade capital is to train them and train the group to where ultimately they don't need me. Okay. So that may sound a little crazy, like you're just going to give up your client, but that's really the goal of a consultant, to teach them the whole thing where they can learn, or I can hire people to manage that account for me, and then I'll move on to bigger and better things. Okay. A lot to chew on there, but start to think about number 3. Okay. So what's the dilemma with all this? All right. Nothing is ever easy in any type of business. Trading, and if you've been trading for a while, you've had those crazy days, we know this is just, it's not easy. But what do we have to consider? All right. Now I'm going to go through these pretty quick. But again, we can think about some of these things. I want to see if there's any light bulb moments with any of you. One, when you're managing capital, the size of the account. Well, most will say the more the merrier, right? If there's a 20,000 in an account, give me 20 million. Well, the size of the account, as that gets bigger, you'd be amazed how much pressure that puts on the trader, okay, and the group. Then when you start getting bigger size, then you have auditors and investors who are a little more interested in seeing your returns. Risk of ruin, okay? Risk of ruin is a risk management term that really describes what are the chances statistically based on certain trading behavior that you can blow the account, okay? Now, you would think that a lot of investors want a 0% risk of ruin, but you'd be amazed how many people come to me and are willing to take a 60% chance of blowing an account because they want a big return. Since the cryptocurrency sort of explosion happened, you're starting to see a lot of this. People are more willing to have a higher risk of ruin, right? Why? Because they want higher returns. What about the product to trade versus the experience? What area of expertise or what type of products do you trade? If you're a Forex trader and you have an investor interested in having you trade his account, but he doesn't like, for some reason, doesn't like Forex and for futures or options, where does that leave you? Okay, something to consider. How about the teaching component? This is something I see all the time. After a while, you start doing it and you start to have good results. You know what the question is? Hey, can you teach me this? We'll pay you to teach us. I have friends too, and I have, I want my kids to learn this too. So now all of a sudden, you're a trader, now becomes a teacher. Other value-added services, we talked about them earlier, right? I'm a risk management specialist, and some of these big accounts, these big firms, they require risk management protocols to be addressed. So they want to do that. Then there's the regulatory aspect, taxes even. I mean, I'll do the taxes, but I'll oversee the process. Okay. A lot of regulatory stuff. This is another thing. When you manage capital, you're going to be presented with. It's important that you don't have to accept it, but at least understand that you have a solution for these people. Remember, this is a business. All right. A growth plan and the attached growing pains. As I mentioned earlier, as the money gets bigger, the growing pains also get bigger. All right. It's a high class problem, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of good traders who I've seen reach that brink where they just can't take, the higher meals. And then when you're doing well, everybody wants in. All right. And it just gets to the point where the scale gets to be a problem. When you start managing money at a certain level, all of a sudden, what type of equipment am I going to use? Do I have to invest in different things? What about redundancy servers, business continuity? Okay. Do I have backup servers and other PCs available in case something goes wrong? What about my platform? If my platform goes down, not even my fault, what do I tell my investors if I missed out on a good trading day? Okay. There's a lot here, but don't worry, we'll make it more. We'll make it nice and friendly for you. We have nice solutions for you. Another key takeaway, remember what I said. Get your snapshots ready, okay? The key to successful capital management is more than just trading. It's managing all the pieces so they can't do it without you. Okay? Think about that. If you're trading a nice size account, even if you're good, there's always somebody who's probably maybe going to be better or had a good month. And then they start looking, at the other person. You're almost like, it's disposable in a sense. But if you bring to the table a certain skill set, a certain business savvy, something different, they can't do without you. My specialty is risk management. So if they want to get another trader, that's fine. But there's a good chance that they don't have the skill sets of risk management. Okay. So one of the things I want you to think about is the uniqueness of what you bring to the table. How are we doing? Good so far? Okay. There's a lot here. I don't want to leave a session without you being packed with information. So it's pretty good stuff. Okay. Let's continue. So what's the 3 hidden tricks? Like, tell me, Mike, everybody asks me, how do you do this? Okay. I enjoy this. I live for it every day. The first thing is know that you can do this, right? When we introduced everyone early in the session, from all over the world, you may have different levels, skill sets of trading. Maybe you have no experience. I know someone introduced themselves. You can do this. There is a need for this type of service. Money needs to find a home. And and like desire to trade, the management team there, like I'm just an average guy, just providing value. Okay. Number 2, the hidden trick to not only trading capital, but attracting capital, perfecting your resume. It's like walking into a job interview, right? What makes you special? Number 3, develop the mindset of a money manager. Okay. We're so trained to focus on setups, strategy, but I want you to take a step back and start thinking about, wait a second, I have a different role now. I'm a money manager. And part of the challenge is we see these money managers like in suits on Wall Street, but that's not the case anymore. Okay. I want you to start thinking about that and changing your mindset. Remember, you're running a business and you're a specialist. So again, ask yourself this question. It's like a job interview. What makes you unique and special? Sure, it's about track record. People want us, to have a profitable trading account, but it's really what makes you unique and special. And I'll give you an example of that shortly, of some of the things that I look at. And when I see that, I say, this is going to be a great trader. And I haven't even got to what the track record is yet. Okay, so remember that ambitious goal we had earlier, right? We're going to, from trading on an account to trade prop firm capital to managing, the larger accounts, okay? And trading outside capital. Well, what I want you to think about here, again, this is an ambitious goal. Of course, I have an X over the trade your own account, but please continue to do that. But really, aren't you limiting yourself, right? Trade other people's capital. They're firms like prop firm capital. They want you to join them. Okay. They need that. It's part of their risk management plan to have different traders all trade in different markets because it diversifies their risk and it reduces their risk of loss and their risk of ruin. So they're constantly looking for good traders. And once you get experience in a prop firm capital environment, trust me, the money is going to come like you've never seen before. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so to put things in perspective, all right, think about your own trading account and how you trade that. Okay, and I have my own trading account as well. But let's look at, say, a $1.2 million account in a prop firm. Okay, and you can produce 5% a month at 70% share, which is actually right along the lines of that mid-range for a prop firm. You get to keep 70%, $42,000 a month. Okay, so you can compare that performance, all right, and your compensation to what you're making now. Okay, and if 5% is a little too high, let's use 2%. Okay, so you're looking at around just shy of 17,000, right? 16,800. Again, something you want to consider. And 1.2 million is not very unheard of. I mean, you can work your way up, and we'll show you how in a little bit, how you can scale up to 1.2 million in a lot of these prop firms. Once you get into managing private capital, I mean, 1.2 million is not really that much to sneeze about. Okay, so let's look at the key tenets for managing capital. Remember, I talked about the trading element of it. What's the other parts? Communication. Very, very important. This is the number one, the most important thing in my world that I need to bring to the table. It's the monthly reviews I do with the investor group. Okay. The reporting. Okay. Show them the results. Next, risk management. Okay. The top 3 steps in the risk management process: identify, assess, and control. You have to be able to provide quality risk management services. Even if you're trading, if there's no risk management, you're done. I don't care how good your track record is, you're done. It's not going to last. Or you'll be the first person I see if it does. Compliance, when you're managing other people's capital, okay, there is a heavy regulatory and compliance element to it. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple examples where the compliance you don't need to worry about as much. So we'll put that aside for now. But I will tell you, it does get a little bogged down. And quite honestly, in crazy market days, when you have to do certain regulatory things, it does take your focus away. But we have a solution for that. And last is transparency. I always make sure I'm there to address an inquiry from my investors. Okay, it doesn't have to be on the minute, but I'm always there. And what transparency also is saying is advising them and communicating to them of their portfolio and the expected drawdowns. So when the drawdowns happen, I shouldn't be getting a call. Right. And all too often, and you'll notice, when you get involved in this space, that you can communicate a maximum drawdown of 10%. And I know some of my desire to trade managers are probably laughing at this, but a drawdown of 10%. But as soon as that drawdown hits like 5 or 6%, all of a sudden, the emails start coming, like what's going on questions. If you're upfront and transparent, you should never, ever, ever get those calls. Okay. How about one more key takeaway? You ready? Snapshots ready? Let's go. The secret to managing capital, prop firm, or any other capital is, want to take a shot? A solid equity curve. Does everyone know what an equity curve is? If you want to type it in the chat, you can just put yes or no. I'll tell everyone what it is. But so basically what an equity curve is it when you have your software, when you have your trading history and you do an operational report, your trading software will report a chart, a graph of your profits or losses. right? It's just like a regular, looks like a regular stock chart. And what that equity curve, the optimal equity curve, is that nice, slow, and steady move upwards, right? It's account growth, right? Biggest fallacy is that the more you make, the better. It's not true at all. A solid equity curve, nice and smooth and consistent. All right, I saw the word somebody's put in the consistent before. Nice and consistent is the secret to attracting and managing capital. That's all it is. That is, remember we talked about the resume? That's the resume, a solid equity curve. This equity curve, not happening. All right. This particular equity curve has an end result of what? Plus 60,000. Sounds pretty good. This would not get, you would not get any capital within any interview in a prop firm or an investor, unless they don't know what they're doing. You wouldn't get past 5 minutes into that. Okay. Smooth and steady wins the race. Okay. So one more type in the chat. What is stopping you from scaling up your capital? Okay. For those traders out there, okay, who are currently trading and you want to scale up, what's some of the things that you thought about that's limiting you from doing that? Good. I was hoping somebody would say fear. Thank you. Thank you, Ming. Yeah. Fear is a big one. Psychology, right? Not having a base like a salary, right? You guys are great. You guys are a great audience, right? Psychology, not skilled enough to pull it off, inconsistent, discipline and risk management. Simba, don't worry, you're not alone, okay? Well, everyone has those challenges. Great answer, right? Lack of security. I really enjoy this. How about access to capital? You could have all these and just sometimes you just don't have access to it. Okay. Great answers. Thanks for participating. A lot of fear, especially when the money gets big. Absolutely, man. Okay. We're doing well. How are you guys doing? I'm doing fantastic. This is great. I love it. I really enjoy talking about this. Okay, the biggest obstacle, with these and with a prop firm, when if you're not familiar with prop firms who provide capital for you to trade, there's some hurdles to get involved or for them to give you the money to trade. Okay. So what do you think the biggest obstacle? And they give these challenges. So what it is basically you do like a demo type thing for so many days or so many months. And if you meet their requirements and you have a reasonable equity curve and you meet their profit goals, they'll start to provide you capital. That's basically what a prop firm does. Okay. And the better you do, the more you're consistent you are, then they'll start adding capital to your account. Okay. So it's it's really cool. All right. It's a lot of fun. And this prop firm is it's a great stepping stone towards looking at managed capital. Okay. So what do you think the biggest obstacle is? All right. Drawdown. Great. How about this one? Time. This is what we have found. When I manage traders and I do a lot of work with Desire to Trade, we have found that it's not the performance that's the problem. It's these challenges, as they call them, come with a time limit. You're allowed 30 days to reach a certain goal or 6 months. A lot of times the traders will get there. They just run out of time. Okay. Which kind of stinks because when you're in a real managing capital environment, that's usually not the case. They're a little more patient. And how about risk management? Right? I think a few mentioned in the chat. Right. They want to see risk management. Real quick story. We actually Desire to Trade did a podcast for one of the managers or the owners of a prop firm, and I was shocked. I was so surprised when he said this. He goes, what are you looking for? A solid equity curve? And I'll never forget what he said. He said, we just want to see that the trader is performing with a solid risk management plan. He says, we're not even that concerned if they're losing money. As long as they're not losing too much and they're consistent and they're just like under that like radar where they're trying, but they got good risk management and they got a good approach and they're following a plan, we could work with that person and develop them into a great trader. They never talked about profits. I thought that was a brilliant answer where, they're willing to provide money to traders who aren't profitable. Pretty impressive. And that's the world we live in today. Remember, they need you too. It's not just about us knocking on the door, begging for money. Okay. So the 4 steps to get funded, trading consistently. Let's get to it. Number 1, focus on your metrics. If you are trading on a platform, or if you're new to trading and you're not sure how this works, generally you would trade on an electronic platform. And at the end of a certain period, you could run your reports and they're already pre-designed and they'll give you key metrics that you need to review and to focus on. Those are the type of things that the prop firm money or even managed accounts will want to see. Again, work on that equity curve, smooth and steady. Profitable is good, but smooth and steady, even with less profits, will give you more opportunities, right? Think about that. I don't know how many people would, in any webinar, would say that to you. Graduation in size. How do you perform as your size gets bigger? Because remember, prop firms want to give you more money, but it's a double-edged sword. They're giving me more money. How do I handle that? Okay, you got to build some muscle. It's tough to do. And 4, building on your experience. Okay, start small, learn as you go, and get support along the way. Okay, if you're in that stage, would you like some guidance here? I certainly wish I had back then. Okay, so far we learned many ways to manage capital, scale your trading. All right. Now, let me share the best way to get started. And this is based on experience of myself training traders and getting them to the stages where they're funded. So what we did at Desire to Trade, and Etienne, and the group reached out to me and said, Mike, we want to do something special. We want to do something unique to address this problem. Because people were saying, 1, I want to be consistently profitable, but 2, I don't have that big of an account. So even if I am profitable, it's just kind of limiting. What can I do? So we decided to put some things together. And about a year and a half ago, I said, sure, I'd be happy to work on a project. And we put something together. And really, I'm so impressed with the turnaround of a lot of the traders, right? We had get some good feedback. They're passing challenges. This is one individual who has a pretty solid equity curve. Notice that little jagged edges, but generally speaking, it's an upward bias. That's very achievable. So what we did, we put together this class and program, okay? And it's really the only program that we have seen, and we've been doing this for over a year and a half now, that really the only program designed to guide you through getting funded and to trade full-time, if that's your desire, within 6 to 12 months, even if you aren't profitable yet. Okay, so this isn't just like, get profitable traders and, find money. We understand that different traders are at different levels in their development. And we know that if we can train people who don't necessarily aren't profitable, but that can provide good risk management training, right? Good discipline and the ability, strengthen their muscles with the ability to follow a plan, we can get them funded. Okay, so who is this for? Well, generally speaking, we like to work with traders who want to solidify their trading before becoming funded traders, okay? Maybe they have some experience, but they're struggling to get to that next level, right? Or maybe they're just starting out new and they just have a clean slate. Personally, I love to work with those people. Why? No bad habits. So I don't have to deprogram them. And then we also work with profitable traders who kind of looking to take the next step in getting funded, but they just don't know how. Okay, so we'll work with both of them. Most of the time I work with the profitable traders, but since we started this program, I really enjoy starting from scratch. It's I really like getting my hands dirty, and to see the reaction of some of the smaller traders, getting funded is just, to me, it's worth everything that we do. So let me tell you a little bit about what's including the program, and we'll get back to some content in a second, and then we'll get to your questions, because I know I'm eager to get to your questions. Okay, so we have the ultimate prop firm trading course, right? Which I played myself and the Desired Trade team. They brought me on to create this that you cannot find anywhere else. Okay, it includes a monthly trader mastermind. So every month, in fact, we had one today. Every month, you just join our Zoom call, and we have a certain topic. It's somewhat advanced, but it's very achievable. And we have some for the ones just starting out, meets all levels. And you could ask your questions, anything you need, and it's done in a live environment. And we record those sessions in case you can't make it. We also include strategies that work well for prop firms. What happens is a lot of people who want to get funded by prop firms are eager to do so, but their strategies don't work within the compliance regulations of the prop firms. Okay? They want consistent profits and not too much risk on those strategies. So we have designed some to help you out to do that. We also have a Slack mastermind group, which is, if you're familiar with Slack, you could just type in your question. You get to do it meet with other traders in our group, and we're all there every day. We have 24-hour coverage, and I make it a point every day, even before I trade my accounts, to wake up early to make sure I address everyone's question. I enjoy that. That's like the a day in the life. That's one of the first things I do. I'm looking forward to seeing your questions and challenges. We have resources and tools for the challenge, so you just don't go and take the challenge. We have this preparatory tools that we want you to do and handle before you take them. And we found that you're better prepared. We have a better success rate of getting you funded. We have, again, mentoring from a professional trader. Well, that's myself and our team at Desire to Trade. We're all professional traders, and this is what we do for a living, and we love it. So, you get us hook, line, and sinker. Now, real quick, I'll give you a quick tour of the class or the modules. We started out with introductions. We talk about the major prop firms who are willing to fund. We talk about the trader habits, right? We've found the ones that get funded or the ones that have these specific habits. We have module 4. Who do you think wrote that one? A separate module just on risk management. That's how important that topic is, right? Before you take these challenges to get funded, we do sort of a debrief, okay? And we'll want to meet with you and see you're absolutely prepared to do so, because we want to keep the success rate high. We don't want you taking these challenges and not being successful, all right? We provide the challenge strategies, which we'll talk about in a second. We'll manage the progress as you are taking your challenge. So if you have a 30-day challenge, we want to hear from you, say, every week, and see how you're doing. What are the problems you have? A lot of times it's not about your strategy. You just maybe aren't familiar with their platform that you have to use. And those are little things that can help you, get you to the next step. Okay. After you take the challenge, we do sort of a debrief. And of course, we always include a module on taking that next step and managing, if you want to go to the next step and manage additional capital. So we have our mastermind group, as I mentioned, and you can see an example here where, again, we get feedback. You can get feedback, support anytime. You see in this example, someone posted a chart of their trades. A lot of my trades, I post snapshots. So you can, just that alone, you can get an idea if you're having trouble finding a trade that day. I'll post them in there. I have no problem doing that, and I enjoy it. And some people want to follow it, some people don't. That's fine too. Okay. And again, you get some, this is like a good example of some of the chatter back and forth. And I'm somewhat an informal person, so I try to have a little fun. And it really is, it's a great community. And these are successful traders and ones in the development stage. So you get a nice blend, and you'd be amazed how many times that some traders will learn from the other traders. And I just sit there and watch the development. It's such a cool thing. And also get updates of who's passed the challenge and who maybe needs some additional guidance. Okay. So on the monthly trader calls, we want to make sure you have the support you need. And again, live through Zoom. If you can't make it, that's okay. We'll have the recorded sessions up within about 4 hours. And, we're always looking for the feedback on that. This has become, and this was a challenge to us, I will say, starting this about a year and a half ago, but we have really made so many good strides in the quality and the value of these sessions. We're just so excited about it. We just keep getting better and better every time. Okay. Again, good feedback from our masterminds. Okay. So far, we're doing pretty good. We're getting people to pass the challenge. It's not just like $10,000 accounts. They're like 200,000, 300, and they're getting better and better. Okay. And just as importantly, the ones that are struggling, we're able to identify real quickly what the situation is. And we step in and we walk you hand in hand. One thing I want to tell you is Etienne and the group, invited me, to give this presentation. But I will tell you this, I'm very, very invested into this program. Okay. I've worked with Etienne for about 4 years now. This is the reason why. And quite honestly, I got a lot of things on my plate, but he's good. And he talked me into it. Honestly, they're the most ethical, Dart Traders' most ethical group I've ever met. And I really don't want to work with any other groups that don't have that level of ethics and quality. So they're very special. We have a very laid back approach, and that's why I'm here. That's why I do it. Again, got my certifications a little bit. That's much higher than that now, but I'll leave it at 3 million. Again, results of our students doing very well, and we continue to get that success. So I'm happy about it and very proud. So when it comes to strategies, and a lot of people ask about, well, will you give me strategies to trade? If you have a working strategy, we recommend you keep it. But we do have 2 core strategies. One, which is somewhat a reversion to the mean, a reversal with Bollinger Bands. And there's another one that I put on the table, which I call Secretariat, and it's trend-based. So in good trending markets, it's going to perform very well, especially like in the past 2 weeks with Forex, and especially in the equities, cryptos. Okay. That's the exact same strategy that represents 87% of my managed accounts performance. So it's the same exact strategy, and it's pretty easy to learn, but it does require a lot of discipline. So, we'll hold your hand through that. And here's one of our students really enjoying, Secretariat work. Okay. And the Bollinger Band reversal, which is also good. I usually have a blend going at different times. So, again, a lot depends on, the trading environment. Okay. And again, that's something we can teach you. So what else can we bring to the table? Well, I said, Etienne, I want to make this really special. So what we decided to do is to have a live professional trading discussion. It would be for only the people who join us for this particular session tonight. It would be the same time as today, next week on May 26th, 8 p.m. Eastern. I will host an introductory call for all the new students. So look at it as a group one-on-one. Okay. And I'm going to teach you and show you much more than we learned tonight. Okay. So this is something that I've already blocked in my calendar, and I look forward to really working with the people who are taking action. Okay. Answer your questions, start on the right track, and connect again with other aspiring traders. One question that comes up a lot with these prop trading challenges is, what about the fee? There's an entrance fee to pay for these prop firm, these challenges. So what are we going to do about that? We're going to take care of it for you. Okay. We want you to succeed, and we don't want that to be a barrier of entry. Okay. So there's a fee for that. We waive it. We actually pay for it on your behalf. All right. You don't have to pay for the fee. We'll take care of it. And it's valid with the top 3 prop firms, FTMO, the 5 percenters who do a lot of Forex, and Top Step, which is also a pretty popular one you may have heard of. They focus a lot on equity trades and futures, but so we will waive that fee. Okay. Okay. The next one. Remember, we talked about in the program, right before you take the challenge, we want to make sure you're ready. well, we're just not going to send you a document. We're going to actually sit down and do a one-on-one coaching with you. And it's included in the program. So it will be myself or one of the traders at Desire to Trade, and we'll make sure you're ready. And quite honestly, if you're not, I'm going to tell you, yeah, I need you to work on this before you take the challenge. So, and it's really, you really get a lot of feedback from it. And one of the things we take pride in is really have a coach holding your hand throughout the whole process. Okay. So you get one-on-one coaching before you take the challenge. Again, we want to make sure you have a good chance of getting funded the first time. Now, we understand that not everyone is an experienced trader. Okay. And one of the reasons I, agreed to help Desire to Trade is I like to work with beginning traders. I was there before too, and I understand. And I think getting a perspective from a money manager and trader is a little different, a different perspective. And I take a lot of pride in it, but I understand you got to learn, you got to start somewhere. And I think some of the newer traders are sort of, kind of left behind in a lot of the education that's out there. So we'll give you market overviews. We'll review the market phases, how to trade different sessions. Okay. And also I understand that people trade different time frames. If you work full time, maybe you can only trade like on a daily chart. Or if you're home all day, you want to trade a 5-minute chart. So we'll accommodate all those. Okay. Different types of strategies for breakout, multiple time frames, reversals. We want to fit your specialty or the area they're most comfortable in. Because one thing we've learned is if you try to teach a trader a certain thing that they're not comfortable with, they will not be successful. So we try to work with that different style. And we, again, our one-on-one sessions with you, we'll do a behavioral kind of assessment to see what we think is probably the best course for you. Okay. So let's get to it and we'll finish up. We'll wrap up with some content and I want to get to your questions. I think they're a little crazy, but the guys that Desire to Trade want to do this for $9.97, 2 payments, $4.99, if you find that to be to your liking. All right. It includes all the things and the items that we just talked about, including the one-on-ones, the content, and we'll pay for your fee to take the challenge. Okay. That's the link, and I'll keep it on the slides when we do our Q&A. So you can write this down, but you'll see it on the bottom of your screen. That's the link to get the information to get started. And I really hope I can help you and be a part of your success. So the things you'll learn from the program: how to get funded by the prop firms for the first time. Remember, trading your own account, getting funded, and then managing capital. The prop firm level is the resume. You can do very well just by trading with prop firms. Okay. If you want to go to that next level after you get that experience, that's fine. But a lot of our traders, we found out that they just enjoy, working at home and trading prop firm money. That's fine too. Okay. Again, leveraging that external capital to trade full time if you want that to be your goal and your dream. Not everybody wants that. Again, strategies that will increase your chance of success. There's a lot of strategies that we can show you. We'll try and work with you to find out which one's the best fit. In fact, one of my goals is and I find very frustrating, is people try to trade other people's strategies that they make work for some people, but they don't work for them. So part of our goal is to make sure you get a nice fit and you're comfortable with it. And again, a step-by-step plan to get profitable if you aren't already there, and then scale up. Because remember, whether you're making just a few pips a day, it doesn't matter. Once you're trading bigger capital, the money will come. Okay. Last few slides, and I want to get your questions, so start typing them in if you haven't done so already. A lot of people ask me our fund that we have, I have 2 traders on staff because I just can't do it. It's 24-hour futures, everything. So we've brought 2 traders on there. And when I was hiring the traders, what I wanted was, I didn't want these like Wall Street fat cats. They come with a lot of bad habits. And quite honestly, they're really not the best traders, right? What I looked for, and I want to show you a few characteristics and think about if you meet some of this criteria. Do you have the ability to execute a plan? That's what trading is, executing a plan, right? The ability to make quick decisions, all right? So not to ponder if an opportunity in a trade, presents itself. Do they have confidence, integrity, and passion for trading and the business? I noticed in the chat earlier when we talked about the character, somebody said, I love this. I have passion for this business. I cannot wait to work with that person. Okay. Give me a person with passion. I'll teach them anything. The willingness to invest the time to learn about risk management. It is a dry topic, but it is very important and a skill set that is very unique. And quite honestly, there's a lot of things I'm okay with that I do decent, pretty good trader, pretty good money manager, but risk management is my specialty. And that's, you came to the right place for that. I like to see people who are prepared. They don't just stumble into turn on their laptop 5 minutes before the open. They know what they have to do. And when the opening bell opens, it's really just they're executing a plan. They're not really looking at what they want to trade. Are they trainable? Okay. I need someone who's going to be open to learn how to do this. Can they articulate what they do? All right. When you're in a money management environment, you're talking to someone, when they ask you, what do you do? What do you tell them? Has anyone ever asked you if you're a trader, what you do, and you say, I'm a trader? How do they react? Do you know who the worst audience is for that? Everybody knows this too. Your family. What do they say? Oh, isn't that risky? Why are you wasting your time with that? You can't do that. Okay. Can you articulate what you do? That is the number one thing. I've never, ever, ever asked for a dime of managed capital. Never. They came to me. And the only thing I do is just tell them what I do. Okay? And again, what makes you special? When I'm sitting down talking to someone and they tell me something that makes them special, that just lights up my eyes. I want to see that, what makes them special. When I was talking to someone that we hired actually at the fund, she said, I don't have a lot of trading experience, but I'll tell you this, I have a habit where if I'm excited about something, I can't stop thinking about it night and day and do everything I can to learn more about it. That was all I needed to hear. I mean, they started that Monday, had no trading experience whatsoever. Okay. So again, there's a link on the bottom. And one last key takeaway. With our guidance, you can do this. Don't be intimidated. This is not this big hedge fund world that you see on TV, all right? This money needs a home. You have your own capital, but there's prop firm capital out there, and there's money that can be managed. And with our guidance, you can do this. The first step in this process of success is thinking that you can be successful. Okay? We'll help you get there. Okay. One last thing. A lot of people ask about, is there a guarantee? How does this work? What if this is not for me? One of the reasons I love working with Desire to Trade is their integrity and ethics is second to none. If you go through the program, fail the challenge, or I say don't pass it, we'll work with you personally to get you to pass it. All right. It's okay to not pass it the first time. And often your performance will result in being able to take it again, without any other fees. When you can pass a paper trading version of the test, then we'll pay for you again to take it. And if you don't pass, and this is just not for you, we'll refund it to you. I know some people who came and they had a lot of things going on in their lives and they just didn't pass it a few times. They didn't want the refund. They wanted more training. All right. So we gave that to them and eventually they made it through. Okay. So take a deep breath. Now it's time for me to hear your questions and I'd be happy to answer them. Alex, you want to take it away?
Yes, perfect. So we have here a good amount of questions. Let me take out the paper, the sheet where I have been putting all the questions. And also there are new questions coming in. But let's start with some of the simpler questions before we work out to the more lengthy ones. So Bill was asking if he already has a strategy but wants to get prepared by us. Is that still okay, or do we only teach people with our strategies?
No, just thank you for that question, Bill. No, it's a absolutely. We prefer that if you have your own strategy and you're comfortable with it, we would love to work with you. And a lot of times it's just identifying a little tweak that we can enhance, because we've done hundreds of back tests. We've tried everything. I mean, there's very few things that hasn't come across us in our careers. But we encourage you to have your own. But if you don't, that's okay too. We know everybody's got to start somewhere, but we'd love to see that. And we want your feedback on what you found in your strategies to be sort of that missing link. You may not have the answer, but our goal is to find that answer for you. So good question.
Yep. We also have another question from Eric, which is similar but different in a way. He says, I'm a new trader and only trading in demo account at the moment. Is this program suitable for me?
Actually, it's perfect for you. That's exactly, I mean, I would like to, one of the things we'll do is not just look at your results in the demo, but how did you feel? What were the comfort areas? Were the areas that you felt challenged? What's missing to go from that step one demo to start trading live? Okay. We talked about this earlier. Is it capital? Is it fear? What's preventing you from getting to that next step? That's really our sweet spot where we step in. So absolutely not. This is one of the things that I really enjoy is, I love working with some of the top traders, but quite honestly, that sometimes a little bit of an ego mountain that I have to overcome with them. I love working with newer traders who have the passion, and I'm not sure if that's you or not, but you have the passion, but you're just looking to get to that next step. You found the right place.
Perfect. Here we have another, this is a more technical question, I think. But yeah, it's what kind of training, like undergraduate or courses or certifications do one need to be able to legally be allowed to trade other people's money? This is from Bob. He also asked a different question in relation to that about hedge funds. But yeah, let's just start with that one and then you can.
Sure. A lot depends on the jurisdiction and of where the fund and the trading is going to be taking place. So, where it's domiciled and depending on which country, there's a lot of different regulatory elements to it. One of the cool things about trading prop firm capital is a lot of the regulatory is, the prop firms themselves are the regulatory bodies. So they do everything. They're basically hiring you as an independent trader to do that. So you don't have to worry too much about that. But if you want to trade outside capital, like non-firm, and start your own fund, there's a lot that goes on as far as the regulatory side of it. And, we can, there's a whole seminar on that. But I will tell you this, as far as your educational requirements, you'd be amazed. A lot of times they like to see people with math backgrounds or data science more and more, especially in the world of algorithmic trading. This is becoming a world where people with Wall Street education is not as valuable as those with a math and data analytics background. The world is changing in our business.
Yep.
Good question.
Perfect. Yeah, really good question. And on the follow-up question with your one that he had about, do you really need 40 millions to open a hedge fund in the USA? The question with that is always, it depends. There are many different ways in which you can trade with license and without license. For example, the prop firms, as Mike mentioned, they allow you to be able to, almost anyone can trade with them without any issues. There are some in-person prop firms, because of the way they are set up, that you may require a license or exams to be able to trade for them legally. But yeah, that will depend on the country, jurisdiction, etc. As for how much money you need to start managing other people's money, it depends. There are many different ways to get regulated. There are countries in which the regulation, just to get your papers approved, for managing money, and exams and all that, it can cost you anything from $20,000 to $50,000 or more, just for the basic fees that you pay the government to that and filings, all the way to services that basically for $500,000 they do the full setup for you of cash funds and manage everything for you. So you can do some calculations and see how much would be the amount of money in capital to manage that, to justify that specific setup for yourself. But those are some more complicated things, and we have helped traders in the past. We have one of our members who opened his own private fund, and we have helped him in researching some of those things. We cannot give you any advice legally because we are not advisors in those areas, but we can help you to guide you which type of things are usually required, where you can look and find those informations for your specific situation. Perfect. I'm sorry, there are now many more questions than before. Let me get caught up.
There's a question here that Ming was asking about. What's the percentage of success rate of those going through the program? Michael, you want to answer that?
Yeah, I mean, the actual statistics, we have found, and this is again sort of like this curve, where when we just, someone just goes to the program and takes it and goes through it, we have improved our success rate basically when we started adding the one-on-one consulting and working with them. Okay. We have well over a 50% success rate. However, there are, and initially, and eventually, again, it all depends on what the trader wants to do, how much investment and time and effort they want to put into it. But understand that there are times where you're not going to pass out on the first shot. And that's okay. It's a good learning experience. In fact, a lot of our traders say, I know I'm not ready, but can I just take it just to get familiar with the waters? And so when I take it again, I'll be ready. So I hope that answers. What I will say, this is those one-on-ones and hand-holding throughout the process has really been helping a lot.
Perfect. We have another question here from Eric. What is the time commitment required for this program? He's mentioned that he has a full-time job and a family support, but he still wants to be able to get in the program. So like what type of commitment, or is this suitable for people that are in those situations?
Yeah, I mean, different people have, good question. Different people have different pace that they want to go on. We suggest with the 9, at least the core modules, that we have you do 1 a week, maybe if you really want 2 a week. We don't want you to take all of it in a whole weekend, because you just can't retain as much. And there's a lot of work, feedback after each module. We want certain information and some work exercises. So it is, it does take a little time. But the fact that you're working full time is, it's actually, the mindset is actually for trading is good when you have other income and things like that. So don't let that be a deterrent. We suggest around like 1 month, 6 weeks. But if you can go a faster pace, that's fine. Just work it around your schedule. If you have, it depends on the passion level and the time available too. So, but we're very flexible for that. We want to make sure you're comfortable and not overburden yourself by just banging out classes. It really won't work out that way.
Yep. Perfect. We have here another question. This is, again, technical from Rene. Is R squared of more than 0.8 sufficient for having a solid equity curve, or is there any other measure that people use to define what's a good equity curve for prop firms or investors?
Yeah, it's great, Rene, great question. A lot of it depends on the type of investor. So if you have, I prefer, my sweet spot is working with conservative, but understanding that they're open to little pockets of aggressiveness. So that's my sweet spot. So if, and I get a lot of offers to handle certain different types of accounts, but I just don't want to be too aggressive. And, that's just not my trading style. So, and I'm not going to provide this value for that. So what makes different is depends on the investor, right? Some of them want to be aggressive. Some of them want to be more consistent and more business-like in their approach. But I will tell you, more and more, I find that, and this is something that is not my sweet spot, so I'm probably missing out on a lot of opportunity. But there's a lot of young money that wants to take a lot more risk than I'm willing to put out. So the answer is the investor will tell you. And we talked about communication and transparency. When you have those initial discussions with them, you'll get a feel for their risk tolerance and is this a good fit for me?
Exactly. We have here another question from Charles. What's the best way to get funded from private investors?
Good question. The best way, and we talked a lot about managing capital, but we didn't talk too much about how do you attract, how do you market yourself in a sense. I could speak on behalf of my little peer groups and myself. Is really the best way is just to tell them what you do. I mean, it's not about soliciting, and there are a lot of regulatory things too. When you have those soliciting capital, but the best way to get started is just one, believe in what you do, but two is just to kind of get the word out. What do you do? It's in a sense, it's kind of like just general business type practice. Get the word out, speak with other traders. If you meet with other traders, whether it's at a conference or in our group, we have a whole community of traders. We're all looking to do we have the same core stuff, but a lot of us have different objectives in what we want to do in our lives. All right. Some don't want to manage capital. Some just want to trade their own accounts, and others want to do other things. So just getting the thing is setting a plan of what you want to do and just talking the talk, communicate it, or more importantly, talking to people who will communicate for you.
Perfect. So we have here a couple more questions. One is what happens, some of the rules, what happens with you and the fund when you have losses? How does the prop firms tend to handle losses from traders?
Yeah. There are certain restrictions not restrictions, but certain guidelines once you're funded on how much you can lose. Okay. And again, daily loss limits, and once you're funded, certain drawdown limits. So it does have there's certain level of restrictions. I mean, these prop firms have risk managers on staff, and I'm consultants for some of them too. So they want to protect their capital, but they also want to obviously be profitable, and the more profitable a trader is, the more profitable they are. So this is kind of balance. Okay. But, one of the things we want to make sure is that I mentioned a point early in the presentation is, what's the next steps, or what if I get funded? Now what? There's another set of sort of restrictions. Remember, they are providing you investor capital to trade. So you have to be compliant with their rules. They're a little flexible, but their risk management protocols are very strong. What we teach you are those protocols. So once you get funded, those parameters, you stick inside those parameters and you'll be fine. But remember, they're providing you capital that you can't just kids can't have a blast with it.
Yeah, really good answer. We have here another question from Kamal, which is it okay to use an indicator-based strategy for managing bigger funds?
Yes. When you manage bigger funds, again, we talked about the investors, the ones, the hands-on, the hands-off. A lot of them really don't care what you use, like how you get there. They just want to make sure you're profitable, good equity curve, solid with good risk management. If you use indicators, that's fine. I mean, I use them, but indicator-based strategies. If you have a discretionary approach, again, as long as the equity curve is there, that's fine. And there are traders who really build the muscle, and we help them, to build that muscle to where they can be discretionary and still have consistent outcomes. But there's always that little concern. And as a risk manager, I'm always looking at that saying, we have to add a little more risk tolerance to this person, because discretionary can, sometimes you have a bad day. Hey, even indicators have a bad day, but we're a little concerned about the discretionary side. But indicator based, of course, sure. If that works for you and it makes you profitable and consistent, come on board.
Perfect. Here we have basically one last question from Simba. He says he's a struggling trader from 8 years, never been profitable but for the past 5 months has been consistent on demo. What can I do to stick to my trading and avoid jumping from strategy to strategy?
And what's the last 3 words of his post?
I like
Simba.
Discipline. Yeah.
I like discipline. Yeah. So you're not alone. I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years, and there are times where just something, you have a bad day. I don't know. It's just, we're humans, the psychology element in discipline is part of our teaching and part of our program. It's very common to have these type of skill sets that we need to address. And the way we do it is on our one-on-ones. Many of our topics during our mastermind calls are regarding discipline and risk management. In fact, the one we just had earlier today was based on that topic. One, to recognize you're not alone. The fact that you've been doing this for 8 years shows me your passion. So we don't have to worry about that. It's probably just a little tweak and a little, touch over there, here and there, and we'll get you there. The other thing I want you to think about, regardless of what you do in your demo, think about your platform and what your technology and your platform can do to help you with your risk management and your discipline. For example, if you overtrade certain days, or if you lose too much in a day, you could have your platform set risk management principles where it just shuts off after a certain loss. Or if you lose 3 trades in a day, tell yourself, I'm not supposed to trade now for the rest of the day. Now you can tell your platform, shut me down, and it will. And some of the platforms I deal with traders, they have to call to get permission to reopen it. And guess who they're calling? They're calling the risk manager. I take those calls. So, it's one of those, like, are they going to be nice to me? And please, it's use technology to help you with your discipline. Okay. We'll teach you. We'll also show you how to use that technology. I'm not sure if you're using that, Simba, but if you have your platform, look and see what's available as far as helping your discipline. Trust me, you are not alone. Great question, by the way.
Perfect. I think that's all the questions here that I can see. So yeah, it will be all. So if you would like to say some maybe last words for Etienne.
Thank you, Michael, for training
Go right
today.
ahead,
I think this has been awesome. I think we covered a lot for sure, and I think the lessons you gave are really good for people who want to get started with managing capital. I hope you guys join us to this program. I hope we'll have the chance to work with you and coach you as you become a funded trader. That's our goal, to be able to make a difference. So the link is there on the screen. Michael, maybe you can change the last slide. We have a few feedback there for testimonials if you guys want to check them out. And these testimonials are there for a reason. So these are students who've been able to get funded with the program. Again, we have a guarantee for you, like we discussed before, all that stuff. So it's all about if you're ready to make the commitment to actually get funded and put the work to get there. Or if you want to wait, that's fine. But there's a place and time where we got to get the work done and get funded and work on that. And Michael, Anelo, and I are there to coach you and help you throughout this process. If you have any questions, you can always comment in the chat. You can always email us later. You can contact me on social media as well. Big thank you to Michael for this training, and we'll catch you guys pretty soon.